FT what?
FT Gaming! And you're watching Dice Squad!
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dice Squad. I am Marshall Dice, also known as Adam Campbell, and unlike normally, where I'm usually doing an episode of Dice Squad with my co-host, General Dice, also known as Todd Evangelista, as he likes to be called, we normally take some time sometimes, talk with local creators about all sorts of awesome Kickstarters and board game projects that they're working on. And while at Con the Cab, I met an awesome individual who is now kickstarting his own convention, Roundtable Con. Ladies and gentlemen, I have with me today Mr. Jeff Ackley. How's it going?
Adam, I am fabulous. It is really nice to see you over the webs here. Yes, we are kickstarting early access to Roundtable Con. The event happens the last weekend of April 2020. We have the entire Park Inn by Radisson booked for 3 days of tabletop gaming. You know the drill. It's role-playing games, board games, miniatures, and I'll talk a lot about all these three things, and collectible card games like Pokemon and Magic.
Oh yeah. So let's rewind a little bit. So have you always been a fan of board and card games?
So I've always been a fan of speculation, and I read a lot of fantasy and sci-fi when I was growing up learning to read. When I turned, 17 or 18, I discovered in the Sears and Roebuck mail order catalog these books called Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And I couldn't believe that there was somebody talking about Dungeons and Dragons, which I had never heard of the game before yet. So this is the late 70s, and I ordered those all for Christmas, like the Monster Manual, the DM's Guide, the Player's Handbook. The Fiend Folio was out at that time, and these books came a couple of weeks later and changed my life. I became immersed in this new imaginary world that I could now create part of what happened. And so it took me a while to find a group. By the time I got to college, then I ran into some like-minded people, and we started gaming together. I would run games, some friends would run games. That turned into locating the local hobby game store on the other side of town. Then I went to college in Buffalo, New York. So the store was Hobbies Militaria. And when I first went in, of course, I didn't know anybody, but I just kind of gazed around at all of the beautiful shrink wrap boxes of games and went, oh my. And after a couple of years of showing up at the game store, making friends, playing various games from Starfleet Battles to several different kinds of role-playing games, RuneQuest, we played a lot of GURPS. We played a lot of D&D, of course, still. I basically became a true fan of tabletop games.
Now, you mentioned
RuneScape. This is 30 years ago.
Are you a fan of World of Warcraft?
So the multiplayer, online what are they? MMORPG?
Yes.
World of Warcraft. I don't play it. I have played a lot of Elder Scrolls titles and a lot of spent way too much time on Elder Scrolls Online. So I know the genre, but not World of Warcraft specifically.
Gotcha. So then, playing all these RPGs and things like that, how did you get the inspiration for Roundtable Con?
So it was one of those secondhand ideas. I'm an independent software developer. So I had made friends with the local director of the Chamber of Commerce so that I could kind of find ways to promote my software development business. And in a conversation with her one day, she said, this guy down at the Park Inn is wanting to run a Comic-Con. And my ears perked up and I thought, Comic-Con? Well, that's cool. But then she said games. playing all kind of games. And I thought, most Comic Cons are not really game cons. Sometimes they have game elements, and sometimes game elements have a lot of, there's some overlap, right? So I called TJ up and I said, hey, TJ, what is this with this Comic Con / Game Con / whatever it is? And he was working in sales at the Park Inn and wanted to do an event that would use the facility. It's a beautiful facility, and they were trying to make sure, they would sell the rooms, sell the overnight stays and things like that. So this was promotional on his side. And while he and his partner love gaming, it wasn't like the thing that he really wanted to do. So he wanted to do it, but I wanted to do it more. So it kind of became my baby. And, we formed a committee, we got some people together, and one of the early questions was, well, who buys the insurance, who signs the contract with the hotel, and all of that stuff. The rubber meets the road questions.
Absolutely.
So I took the low cost way out. I formed a small LLC, single member LLC, Quantum Ogre LLC, which is a fun joke for people on the role-playing game inside. And so that it has basically become my labor of love. I have a great committee. I have people that work very tirelessly to help make sure it's safe, it's well organized, that there's an art show, that there's vendors, that there's a cosplay element. I can't do all of those things, so a lot of people help. We have a couple of great charities that we work with, and they bring people to help man the administration or the registration desk. And if you need someone to sit at a room to watch badges and things like that, they're really good at providing people like that. So yeah, a lot of great people involved.
So
go ahead.
And Roundtable, where did that come about?
So I was.
Is it a reference to King Arthur and the Round Table?
It started that way, and then I took a tour of the facility, and they have this amazing room called the Crystal Room. And in this room, there's 14 or 15 large tables that can be configured as round tables. And I thought, this is the centerpiece of the con. This room right here is where the magic happens. So the round tables, I was spinning up some conference role-playing games for Savage Worlds set in King Arthur era, kind of spun off of Shadows of Camelot board game. And this was just kind of all mixing together, and that's what I decided. You got to pick a name, right?
Hey, I understand what Dice Squad. I understand completely.
So yeah, other than that, nope, nothing magical about the name. We like to play role-playing games at large round tables. That's fun. Board games kind of fit on smaller round tables, and that was pretty much it.
And now your convention, you're kickstarting this convention. Is that correct?
I am. The goal of the Kickstarter is twofold. One, of course, I would love to sell early badges. There's a couple of special things that are available in the Kickstarter that will probably not be available later. Certainly the lower price. They're about $15 off of door price, which is helpful for people. There will be a tier, an early bird tier through early registration starting late January that will, be a little more expensive, but the best prices are now during the Kickstarter. So that's part one of what I wanted to accomplish. Part two is I wanted to have a number of people that I could project that would be attending based on early sales, that then I could go to vendors and say, hey, I know we're a young con. This is only our second year. I know it's difficult for you to take a risk on coming to a young con. It's sometimes the booth fees are high. Ours aren't. I don't think they're that high. But you've got overnight, you've got transportation, you've got a fairly large nut involved in attending a con as a vendor. Lost weekend, lost opportunity cost for choosing my con over somebody else's con. So I wanted to have a number that I could show to vendors saying, look, we had these early sales, and if you take some kind of projection against those, it looks like we'll make 300, 350, 400 people for the con. Those are my goals, right? So with those two goals in mind, I said, how do I convince vendors that I'm going to have enough people, and how do I prove to myself that I'm going to have enough people? So Kickstarter, it's the perfect vehicle for that sort of thing.
Excellent, excellent. And right now, your Kickstarter, you're doing great. Actually, here, let me bring, because I actually have it right here. I'll bring it over for our viewers to just take a look at. So right now, you guys are doing great. Halfway there, still 21 days to go. You have 17 backers. Now, how did you find these awesome special guests?
Networking. It's all about who you know. As you're finding out through podcasting and interviewing people, you talk to people, you say, boy, it would be nice to interview you on our show. You develop a relationship with those people. I've been going to Con on a Cob for a few years. I met Andy. I asked him a lot of questions before we ran our first Roundtable Con. A local artist, Heather Kreider, did a Kickstarter and is friends of friends with people that are on the committee. So I basically have been tapping into the network that we've been developing. And Norm Hensley is someone who I met at Con on the Cob in the Savage Worlds room. And he is very well connected with other Savage Worlds game masters. So we're going to run our Savage Saturday night. I'm really excited about that.
I was just about to ask you that sounds very dangerous. Should we be prepared for? Do we need to wear like any protective like vests, or bring supplies, canteens, trail mix? I mean, Savage Saturday night sounds like it's very brutal.
So the Savage Worlds motto, and I tend to run a lot of Savage Worlds these days, is fast, furious, fun. So it could be a little dangerous, yes. I would come prepared with soft drinks and maybe some trail mix, and definitely your polyhedral dice, and ready to rumble.
Now what about my machete? Should I bring a machete?
So it's very funny. There's a iconic character in one of the Savage Worlds canned settings who poses with like a 45 and a machete. It's a pretty fun icon. So yeah, maybe we'll have some jungle kind of pulp games going on, but I haven't talked to the game masters yet that are going to do that. So I don't know what the titles of those sessions are going to be.
Gotcha.
It'll be exciting to find out.
Now, one of the cool things that I see here on your Kickstarter, aside from having the illustrious Andy Hopp, who is also a established member of the Dice Squad team, you have a Gen Con Games library. Because it says here a collection of 600 hard-to-find games. That's got to be quite a story to get 600 hard-to-find games from Gen Con.
So, Marissa, with the Gen Con Games library, the Gen Con Games library is a traveling library. They have multiple outlets, multiple teams that basically bring on a truck and a trailer anywhere from 600 to over 1,000 games to your con. They set it up, they run their own cash register, and not cash register, but they'll honor tickets. If I sell tickets for time in the game library room, they manage all that. They check games out that people have said, hey, I see that game. I haven't played that since I was 12. I want to play that game. So they check it out to that person. They sit down with their friends at a table in the closed room. They play the game, they put the parts back, they take it back to Marissa, whoever's working the desk at that time, and pick another game. And we haven't worked out the rotation and ticketing for that room yet. One of the stretch goals is that the room is free and open all the time. And we're working on our Kickstarter stretch goals. So we'll see how well we fund and whether we can offer that room being free all the time. But yeah, we had them at our first con, and they were the hit of the con. I had people spending a lot of time in there. They were so thrilled to be able to basically walk up and see random odd games. And, they have, of course, they have a lot of bestsellers too, but it's quite the resource if you're a new con trying to start up and you aren't quite sure you can have established game masters come in or people to run demos and board games like that. So that was one of our risk mitigation strategies for the first con. And it was so successful that one of the first things we did when we set our date was I sent an email to Marissa and said, hey, we're going to be on this date. Are you available?
So I know with 600 games, for our lovely viewers out there, what are some of the big highlight games that when you walk into this Gen Con games library, it's like, wow, you guys have that?
Oh boy, you're taxing my memory. There were several that were bound up in kind of binder bands. I heard people oohing and awing all over the place. I don't remember.
Okay. That's
very sad. It's been a couple of years now, and my focus was more on kind of making sure Marissa's team had what they needed. I think I played like that kaiju game, the big monsters in Tokyo. Game, because I had a few minutes free. I sat down with some friends and we played, but I didn't peruse the stacks as much as the players. So
gotcha.
I'm sorry I can't answer that question.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. So hey, go check that out. I mean, with 600 games, I mean, this is the con to be at.
Yeah, it's 600 titles sitting on shelves that you can choose from. I can't imagine we'll have 600 gaming sessions, but we'll have a lot. So over 3 days, from probably noon on Friday, although one of the stretch goals is to start at 8 on Friday. So depending on response to the Kickstarter, we may open up much earlier on Friday and get things going, get 4 more hours of gaming in, which, that's 4 more hours.
There's never enough time for gaming.
There is never enough time.
But let's go ahead and talk about all the different types of pledges you can do on your Kickstarter here.
So the first pledge is, of course, you can show your support with, $1 or so. And I have a few of those. And in fact, a new game con that's starting up in Florida this year, they're having their first in June, I think. They threw a buck at us and said, hey, congratulations, good luck. So, there's always that level if you want to support what we're doing, but can't plan to come. The next tier is the 3-day badge. This is your regular badge you would buy if you walked up to the door. It's $25 as a pledge level. If you are buying 2 or more for your family, just pledge at that level and then multiply the dollar amount that you pledge by however many badges you want. The next level is really special, and we just added it this week, Tuesday. Andy Hopp is going to run a special Low Life game. Now, Low Life is a setting that Andy developed for the Savage World system, and it is one of the most creative, fun, mind-blowingly creative settings I've ever seen. I've played in a couple of Andy's games at Con on the Cob now, and I love the setting. So he's going to run a special gaming session for that for 6 people, the first 6 people who sign up at that pledge level. They will get an autographed book and an autographed copy of the Low Life rules and spend the time with Andy. And there's going to be a lot of prizes associated with that gaming session. So Andy's going to bring a bag full of goodies. The con's going to throw a few things in, and the players will get, well, Andy's working out how he's going to kind of divvy up the prizes, but there's more to that pledge level. You'll get more out of it than just what's listed in the pledge level. But we had to follow Kickstarter rules and not talk about contests and stuff like that. So it's fine. I
was going to say, I myself can attest. A couple years ago, I was at an Origins Game Fair. I frequent all the time for Dice Squad, and I got in a game of Low Life, and it is with Andy Hopp dungeon mastering, DMing. It is it is a lot of fun. He puts a lot of character into his game.
Yeah. The next level is for vendors. You can get early access to a vendor booth at $65. Boy, I'm pressing my memory at the end of the long day. It's a 8x8 booth. You can get multiple, again, the same way. If you want 2 booths, you just pledge at that level one time and add, multiply by how many booths you want. I have James from New York, and I'm not remembering his store's name at the moment, but New York City. He comes to Con on the Cob every year. I usually buy some obscure role-playing game rulebook from him, and he was one of my first people to sign up. I have an artist signed up as a vendor, pledged already. So yeah, the vendor booths are already going through the Kickstarter. I'm excited. And the last pledge level at the moment, we may add more later, but the big one is a team table or a club table. For $250, you can get a dedicated to your team, your club, throughout the entire convention, big round table in the Crystal Room. That is your home base, entire con, right? And people, I'm on some Facebook groups and stuff, and people are already murmuring. It's like, hey, let's go in on this. And so there's talk. Nobody's got one of the pledge levels yet, but they're definitely talking about it. So I'm excited. But basically, that's 5 badges for 5 members of the club. We'll provide you with snacks and drinks and, concessions, whatever we can do to make your home base the best home base possible during the convention.
Fantastic.
So, yep. So those are the current pledge levels. Like I said, we're working on some stretch goals that we'll announce probably mid campaign. Probably next Tuesday, we'll assess how we're doing with the overall goal amount, how close we are to our goal. And, it would be fun to just announce them, but, well, I don't know. This is my first Kickstarter, so I'm learning a lot as I go along too.
Any secrets you want to give our viewers, peek the envelope a little bit?
So secrets for the con?
For just for your new backers, your new tiers of rewards and things like that. Any surprises?
Yeah, I wish I had something just a little more concrete to tell you. I do have something, but it's just not formed enough to actually share. I'm so sorry.
No problem. No problem.
One of the other stretch goals is, and this depends on some stuff outside of the Kickstarter, we are also planning a game design, what do they call them in other conferences, like track, right? So we're going to have panels with successful game designers. I've invited some regional game publishers and designers, and I don't have commitments from most of them, but I think enough that we can put a game design track together. So, this is the day where people are really able to produce in their kitchens, at their kitchen tables, really cool things and make it come alive with the internet, with the ability to reach out through logistics facilitators and have things printed in China and shipped directly to Europe. I work with one company here in town that does logistics, worldwide logistics, and there's another company that I know some people at. So the possibilities are really endless and kind of mind-blowing for the individual creator these days. And more people are like, well, I have an idea for a game. Well, okay, how do you go about it? So what makes a good game? And I don't have the track sessions assembled yet, but we're working on that. And if that all comes together, that will be a nice little add-on to the conference. Long-term, of course, over the next few years, I'd like to make that a really big part of the conference, to attract more people that are interested in making games, that have successfully made indie games. And because, well, I'm one of them, frankly. I'm really interested in that whole process, and I'd like to bring people who are passionate and knowledgeable about it together so that we can all learn and kind of do something hard together and bring it all together. So
That's fantastic. And again, so your convention's going to be where location-wise?
Okay, Sharon, Pennsylvania. We are, if you're coming from Ohio, we are the first exit once you enter Pennsylvania on Interstate 80. We are right, I want to say like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1.5 minutes off of the interchange between I-80 and I-376, right inside Pennsylvania. We are within 100 miles of lots and lots of people. Akron, almost Cleveland. I had a card around here somewhere and I put them, yep, I put them away. But yeah, so the back of our Save the Date card has concentric rings at 100-mile radiuses. And so, you know, Columbus, Ohio is within 200 miles. Buffalo's within 200. We're within easy reach. I got a really good deal. We haven't publicized this. I got a really great room rate for the room block at the hotel. So that all of that's going to go up on the website the next day or so. And we're closer than you think.
Very cool. Very cool. And again, if you want to back up Roundtable Con, where can people go to? What is the Kickstarter? What's the website for the Kickstarter?
So the easiest way to get to the Kickstarter is to just, we have a link right off of our website. So it's roundtablecon, all one word, .com/KS. That'll drop you right onto the Kickstarter page. And if, of course, you go to our website, you'll find the countdown timer. There's the vendor page if you're a vendor looking for specific details that are not necessarily on the Kickstarter page. There's going to be a lot more on the website over the next couple of weeks as we kind of unveil things. It's one of those, you know, we're 6 months out and we should know more, have more details ironed out. But, you know, it's our second time, so we're learning from what we did last time and still learning. And, but like I said, roundtablecon.com /KS will take you straight to the Kickstarter, and everything else you can find out on the website. We also have a mailing list. If you want to stop at the website and drop in your email, that will let us notify you. Even if you don't back the Kickstarter, that will get you on our list, and we will keep you posted on developments for the con in general, and you know, this con in 2020 and those in the future.
And we'll have a link down below so you can click on that and show your support for this con, because man, it's looking to be one awesome con, almost competing with Con of the Gab.
I have humble hopes that we will make 200 or 300 people happy, right? You know, I certainly would love to see us get up into the 400 or 500 people. But the Park Inn is a wonderful location. It's beautiful. You walk in and you're just like, this is a nice hotel, right? You walk into the ballroom where the vendors, we'll have the vendors in 2/3 of the ballroom and the game library in a part of the ballroom. And it's this big, beautiful room with big glassy chandeliers. And then you walk into the crystal room and it's huge. Oh, so I did mean to touch on miniatures. There is a local core group of guys that are amazingly good at assembling and running miniature games that run, you know, full 4 hours, sometimes longer. They're going to take over the atrium on Saturday. They're going to come in. Now, the last time they were there, Brad ran a zombies apocalypse miniatures game. It was amazing. He ran 2 sessions. The people that played it just loved it. I don't know exactly what he's bringing this time, but he and a couple other friends are going to come. They're going to bring, we will definitely have some naval action. So I think it might be World War II surface combatants, but I'm not sure. But I'm really excited. And Brad will bring some gorgeous, enormous spread for miniatures gaming.
So prepare for total carnage.
Cool. We'll have role playing. We'll have collectible card games, Pokemon and Magic. We have a local gaming store in town, is Infinite Consortium Gaming. Mikey and Tom Vaughn are the proprietors. They were huge partners in our first con, and I expect good things out of them this time too. And they sponsored a big Magic tournament, so I expect the same thing. Well, I hope to have. They haven't committed yet, but I'm hoping that we'll have one again this year, and lots of things to happen.
Fantastic. So once again, folks, be sure to go over and check out Roundtable Con. Go throw some shekels their way, because, man, this is sounding like a really, really cool con. You got Andy Hop, miniatures, collectible card games, RPGs. It's crazy. Even a crystal ballroom. I mean, like, that's crazy. So go check it out. John, thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you so much for talking about Roundtable Con. Now, here's the $1,000,000 question, though, I have for you.
Okay, Adam.
Will Dice Squad be there?
You tell me.
Well, of course.
I want to hear a big yes.
Absolutely.
I want to hear a very big yes. That's what I wanted to hear.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
And we'll be happy to stop by with our claw machine. We got a chock full of dice bags. Dice Squad's going to be there, of course, covering all the awesome coverage of Roundtable Con 2020. So, John,
yeah, we may actually be able to put you in a different place that gives you easy access to a lot of things. So we'll have to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for being on the show, and thanks so much for talking about your Kickstarter, man, and Roundtable Con.
My pleasure. Thank you, Adam.
My pleasure. But from all of us at Dice Squad, this is Marshall Dice, also known as Adam Campbell. Well, it's just me, with
John Ackley
of
Roundtable Con.
And go check it out, because, man, we'll be there. Are you? Thanks, guys.